This is not a debate channel, so I'm not going to debate you on the premier commissioning source. This is your moment, so I'm going to let you have it. No, honestly, thank you so much for that, sir. All right, so the question that I ask everyone that comes on: if you could go back and do it all over again, would you choose the same branch? The floor is yours, sir.
Yes, without a doubt, I would stay within the chemical core. But
Today's highlight is the chem core, the chemical core, also known as CBURN. And I have a very special guest. I have Captain Baysa-Hernandez coming to you to share all of his knowledge and wisdom and experience. And that's really what this branching series is all about. I want to bring on seasoned lieutenants that have been in the game for a while, and obviously Captain Baysa-Hernandez spent his lieutenant years as a chemical officer, and now he is a pre-triple C captain. All right, now help me welcome Captain Baysa-Hernandez. How's it going, sir?
it's going well, dude. It's a nighttime over here in Germany, but very excited to be over here. Looking forward to doing this interview.
So let's jump right into it. I'm interested. What motivated you to pursue a career in the chemical corps?
Yeah, so I attended the University of Hawaii where I got my degree in environmental science. I took a lot of different courses in biology, chemistry, stuff along those lines. Went to a lot of labs and everything as well. And when I went to the recruiter initially, they gave me a list of different branches I can go into, and one that immediately stood out to me was ChemCore. And initially the recruiter was like, "Oh, why do you want to go into that one?" I was like, "Because chemical, I'm an environmental science officer, it just makes sense." And he was like, well, I mean, yeah, it does make sense, but also you're not always going to be doing that stuff." And so I did some more research into it myself. I found out that yeah, there are odds and ends jobs that you're going to be doing along the way, but yeah, you do get the opportunity to kind of put into use some of the things that I did while I was in college, chemistry, biology, whatnot. And then I saw the 74 series recruiting video from the Army, and I thought it was really cool because I saw some people wearing like white lab coats. I saw them wearing the SCBAs, the self-contained breathing apparatuses. I saw them doing like detection tests using like the MBCRVs, whatnot. And I thought that was really cool. And I thought that of all the different Army professions, I thought that was going to be one of the best ones that was best suited for me. So that's very much why I went straight into chemical, and I am a pure branch chemical. So no details.
Okay. Can you explain pure branch officer for those listeners that don't understand that language?
Yeah, of course. So the way I see it as being within the officer corps, when you commission, you have the opportunity to have just your singular branch. So be it chemical, be it infantry, whatnot, or you can be branch detailed, as in your main branch would be, say, chemical, or I'm sorry, would be like AG. But then your first couple years as being an officer, you're going to serve within the chemical corps, and that would be your branch detail. Just kind of gives you a way to go ahead and spread your wings, kind of see another different branch, and then once your time comes up to go to Triple C, you have the opportunity to stay within your branch detail or to stay within your main branch. And for me personally, I just went pure chem. So throughout my Army career, I will stay chem unless I choose to change my branch later on.
Please talk to us about what a typical day in the life of a chemical lieutenant looks like.
Yeah, so definitely, yeah, you're right. Like I spent a lot more time as a lieutenant than I have so far as a captain. So I got a lot more experience with that one right now. So my side within the Army, I've been lucky enough to be here in Germany. I've been at First Squadron, Second Cavalry Regiment, where here I've served as the battalion staff OIC for the chemical warfight and the chemical and specifically the protection warfighting function. Here, pretty much day to day, I am the subject matter expert for anything CBRN related, to advise the commander on any CBRN threats and mitigations, as well as handling any additional duties that get thrown at me. Namely, one of the ones that most chemical lieutenants will get put onto them will be USR, which is Unit Status Report. And that basically is just showing the commander at the battalion all the way up to division, corps level, really what is the status of their subordinate units when it comes to personnel all the way up to training readiness. Those are pretty much my biggest day-to-day jobs, as well as I have other staff jobs where right now I handle the taskings, and any other training that we want to conduct when it comes to CBRN. So running gas chambers, planning additional training to go ahead and get troops ready. So that would be using their PPE, so using their pro mask, using their JS list, using their decon sets, the M26, and other detection equipment as well. But day to day, if you're not within an actual chemical unit, you'll be spending a lot of time in the office, getting things ready for when your guys' unit goes out onto the next mission, making sure they're ready to handle any CBRN threats that they may encounter.
Nice. I mean, you mentioned USR, and I just remembered that I need to update my slides, sir.
Always coming around the corner again.
What are some crucial skills or attributes that you think are critical for success as a chemical corps officer?
Yeah, very broad. It's not specifically just chemical corps, but I mean, just being an officer, you have to have great communication. You're going to be working with subordinates and with leaders at all different levels. So being able to articulate what you want to say, to get it through to everybody, to be able to use the jargon that is well known within the actual chemical corps, and be able to make that digestible to anybody that is not a subject matter expert like yourself. That's very important. Secondly, I think organization. Organization is going to be a huge one. You're using that every day. Again, you have additional duties on top of your principal duty of being a CBRN officer. So you're going to have to be able to manage different tasks, different programs that you may be running, you may be involved in. So having strong organizational skills is only going to set you up for success when it comes to being an officer within the Army. And then lastly, I think that you need to have strong skills within the entirety of the Microsoft Suite package. So because that's very much our bread and butter when it comes to staff life right there. So having some knowledge within each one of the different programs within Microsoft, it's only going to set you up for success, and it's really going to go ahead and set you apart from your peers.
Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and interact with the community of leaders that we're building right here on this channel. All right, let's get right back to the video.
Something that I've seen with a lot of the incoming lieutenants, some of them, they may not have used Excel or PowerPoint too much within their actual college careers, and now you see them using it daily, and they're having to play catch up. They're having to look things up, and I mean, yeah, I'm having to look everything up online too to go ahead and find out how to make a formula work, whatnot. But being able to find the solutions, that's like 90% of the problem right there. So as long as you can go ahead and do that, as long as you know where to even start looking at, yeah, you'll be set for some success.
Absolutely. Can you share any memorable experiences that you've had in your role?
My most memorable experience was when we were on rotation to Poland. So I was actually in charge of the entire warfighting function itself. That was including chemical, military police, engineers, and ADA. Those were a lot of different things that I had no prior knowledge on. Really, it was only just a CBRN. I was fresh out of Bullock at that point, so I was still pretty good on my CBRN knowledge, but everything else I was just completely brand new to me. But while we were in Poland, I was in charge of the protection warfighting function, and over there we had to organize CBRN training for the U.S. unit that was there. As well as for the Croatians, Romanians, the UK, and for the Polish that were also there. And again, it was anything from CBRN, military police, ADA, and all the engineering. So being able to learn every single one of those facets of the protection warfighting function, it was really rewarding. And it was incredible to be able to work with NATO partners like that. I would have never thought, like in my civilian life, that I'd be able to work with people from the Croatian, the Romanian government, people from the German or from the Polish gendarmerie over there. So I think operating in Poland with our partner nations was the best time that I've had so far as a chemical officer.
Nice. Now, what advice would you offer ROTC cadets that are considering the Chem Corps as their branch and as their next job? What advice would you give those cadets?
So again, I've only served as a staff officer. I did not have the opportunity to serve as a CBRN platoon leader. But I mean, just coming from my side of the house, if anybody is considering the Chemical Corps as their branch of choice, I just want to say, like, you know what? You don't know what unit you're going to go to. You don't know what their focus is going to be on if they really do much when it comes to CBRN training. But just be prepared. You're likely going to serve time as a staff lieutenant, which most lieutenants in different branches also do as well. So just be prepared. Be prepared for that one. And also, like, if you do have aspirations to become a platoon leader, then just show up and show out. Go to PT, do your best, go to as many schools as you can. But definitely get prepared for the staff life. It's definitely something different, and it was not exactly what I was expecting when I joined the Army.
What do you feel sets the Chemical Corps apart from the other branching opportunities that are out there?
I think first and foremost, chemicals everywhere. You have a CBRN person everywhere. So number one, it's awesome. I was looking at different job opportunities when it comes to staying within CBRN within the Army, and you have duty locations all over the world that you can choose from because everywhere needs a CBRN officer. Everybody needs somebody to go ahead and do their USR. But first and foremost, everybody needs a chemical officer because everybody has to use ProMass. Everybody has to conduct chemical training. So I think that's one of the greatest things about it.
So, do you have any tips for the branch interview process?
So my personal experience, I didn't have a branch interview.
Mhm.
So I attended OCS, and at the time of when I attended for branch preferences, it was a packet with a LOI, a letter of introduction, and as well as several reference letters. So I had reference letters from people in my family who previously served in the military. They offered references as well as your college transcripts. And really, that LOI, the letter of introduction, was what set you apart and what really told the Chemical Corps why you wanted to be there. So it's really just a matter of showing what you can bring to the Corps itself, and why you want to go ahead and serve in that versus something else. So for me, it was very simple. It was like, again, I had my degree in environmental science. I have a lot of chemistry and science background. So I thought this was going to be a great fit. And then I could bring a lot of my own personal expertise that I gained while in school. I could bring that to the Chemical Corps, to go ahead and keep building the Chemical Corps.
Well said. So, I want to keep it as authentic and genuine as possible. And I don't want it to seem like I'm selling the army or I'm selling a branch. There are pros and cons to every walk of life, every occupation that is out there. So, what are some challenges that you might have faced just in the military in general that you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, so I think one of the most challenging things you're going to encounter while being a staff lieutenant is making CBRN matter. Uh, I mean, if you guys have probably put on a JS list, put on a Pro Mass, and you've seen how hot it gets in there, how uncomfortable it gets, how hard it is to go ahead and move and to just do normal things. Nobody wants to go ahead and do that. Nobody, like, training already gets like tough as it is, and everybody's already sweating as it is in the summertime. Nobody wants to go ahead and have to put on the full PPE and everything. So a lot of the times, you'll see that CBURN training might get pushed to the side, and they'll push it off and keep pushing it off and be like, okay, we're going to do the bare minimum training. So I think that's the most challenging aspect you're probably going to encounter, is making it matter, making it relevant, and making it worthwhile for soldiers to go ahead and train it. Working with my NCOIC, we're able to build a plan to go and get everybody trained. But it's not just, just to meet like the Army regulations on training CBURN. No, this is to give them training in preparation for when they do EIB, for when they do ESB, Expert Soldier Badge or Expert Infantry Badge. This is to give them extra reps there, because that is something that a lot of the enlistment, they're looking for points. That's something that a lot of officers are looking for as some chest candy. So make it worthwhile to them, give them some useful training that they're not going to use just now. They're going to continue to use, give them a good refresher. So I think that's really how you turn that challenge into something that's worthwhile for yourself and worthwhile for everybody else. I think that's definitely the most challenging part.
Thank you for that, sir. Well said. What about career advancement? You mentioned being a platoon leader briefly. You mentioned staff life, but can you talk about that for a little bit? The opportunities that exist in the Chemical Corps?
Yes. So again, being in the staff, you really only have, or I'm sorry, being as a lieutenant, you really only have a couple of things that you are really able to go ahead and do. You can go and do your staff time, you can do your PL time, your XO time. You might even have the chance to go ahead and be an aide to a commander. But when it comes to later progressions, I was actually looking these things up, and it's pretty interesting. For once you're past, like when your KD completes, key development complete for, like, say, a captain or for a major, you actually have the opportunity to get these research and development jobs throughout the Army. One such job that I had seen last year was working with a small team in Maryland, and this team was in charge of developing new JS lists. So one like example was developing new gloves that could work with cell phones. So like right now we're switching to new communications while we're out in the field, and being able to use your JS list while being able to use those communications is going to be key, because if you can't communicate, then you can't move, you can't do anything logistical. So that was really cool. That's something that I saw, something really to go ahead and put some really thought into while working with a research and development team like that. Another opportunity that was actually presented to myself was the opportunity to work here in Germany, but to work as a NATO liaison up at an embassy, because they needed somebody to go ahead and run their CBURN cell while they're up there. But yeah, so you have so many different opportunities to go ahead and excel and to really specialize within the CBURN world. But again, a lot of these opportunities come after your lieutenant, after your captain time is complete. But I mean, even within those two zones, like your lieutenant, your captain time, you still have a lot of opportunity to work with soldiers from different walks, different backgrounds within the Army as well.
Since you did OCS, I want to give OCS some love on this channel. I do a lot of green to gold, I guess, mentorship on this channel. What advice would you give? I'm just throwing this out there. What advice would you give to that soldier right now that's thinking about doing OCS?
First and foremost, OCS is actually the premier commissioning source within the Army. So little known fact. But If you're thinking about doing OCS, I think it is a great opportunity. So I actually did OCS straight out of college. I graduated, I think, like May 11th, and then on May 20th, I was out of MEPS. I was going to Fort Leonard Wood for basic, finished basic, went over to Fort Moore, and I did OCS over there. It was about I think a 12-week course. And halfway through that is when we actually had our branching ceremony. We learned what our branch was going to be. We had a preference list and everything in OML that ranked us onto how high we can get our preference on there. But yeah, I think OCS is a great idea for me. Again, like I had just graduated college, so I ROTC wasn't an avenue for me. I didn't choose to go to a military college, and OCS gave me that opportunity to commission as an officer within the United States Army. And personally, I don't think it's that tough. It's a lot of studying while you're there. But I mean, you're living there on Fort Moore, you're on a small footprint, and you have people around you who are all doing the same thing. So it's very easy to go ahead and to excel in that environment. You just really got to put your best foot forward on there and just make the most out of it. But I would highly recommend OCS to anybody who is interested into it. And I just don't unfortunately know what it's like too much coming from the enlisted side going into OCS. But yeah, definitely coming from somebody who is post grad and then going straight into OCS. Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Well said, sir. Well said. This is not a debate channel, so I'm not going to debate you on the premier commissioning source. This is your moment, so I'm going to let you have it. No, honestly, thank you so much for that, sir. All right, so the question that I ask everyone that comes on: if you could go back and do it all over again, would you choose the same branch? The floor is yours, sir.
Yes, without a doubt, I would stay within the chemical core, but I would probably choose a duty location that has more opportunities for me to take a platoon. So, namely, like Fort Stewart. I know a lot of my peers went to Fort Stewart, and they spent very little time within the staff section, and they went straight into being platoon leaders, XOs, and even on like the National Guard Reserve side, these people they went to CBRN units, and they ended up taking command as second and first lieutenants. But I mean, still, I made it over here to Germany as the CBRN lieutenant for First Squadron, and I have no regrets with that. The experiences I've had over here, being able to work with NATO partners, like I said, being able to travel while being over here, and being able to make a difference within the CBRN program here, it's very rewarding. And yeah, I would not have changed my branch at all.
Make sure you tune in and you don't miss a single second, minute, or hour. I don't know. Some of the episodes might take that long, but we have some extremely good quality and valuable content coming your way, just like you heard. As a matter of fact, sir, I just want to give you the floor. If you want to say something, if you want to have any parting words, any advice, I'm going to give you the floor. Even if folks want to reach out to you, if you want to extend that olive branch, go for it, sir. The floor is yours.
Yes, it was my pleasure to be here to go ahead and talk about the chemical core. I know we've spoken about this a couple of times, but yeah, I didn't have any resources like this when I was choosing my branch. This definitely would have been helpful for me looking back on it. And I really hope that anybody that is considering the chemical core can see this video and that they're able to make an educated decision on how they want to go and spend their Army career. Again, you have a lot of different choices when it comes to branching. You can be pure, you can go and be a branch detail, but either way, I don't think the chemical core is a bad choice in any manner. There's a lot of room for progression, and it's a fun and a rewarding career as well. And if anybody ever wants to reach out to me, go ahead and have any more questions answered. If they just want to get some more information, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll give Lieutenant Hill my email address so you can put it down there as well.
Well, as always, leaders, keep leading, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on. You're the best.